what we are going to do today is something that's very important for all of us who are preparing for JEE. 5 mistakes that every JEE aspirant makes. And before I start telling you about these mistakes, you must be wondering, who am I? There are definitely people who are wondering ki bhai aap kaun ho? So if you have joined us for the very first time, my name is Pahul. This is my full name in case you were curious, and I'm an alumnus of IIT Bombay. I cracked JEE Advanced back in 2011 and my all India rank was 3410. Okay, general category, first attempt. So giving you this background so that you know that I've gone through the process myself, and that is why there is a decent amount of credibility that I carry in order to tell you the mistakes that you guys might commit while preparing for JEE. Okay, fine. So that's who I am, an alumnus of IIT Bombay. Now, the 5 mistakes that I'm going to tell you, please make sure you keep them in your mind. If you want to write them down, if you want to note them in your notebook, perfect. But these mistakes are something that every aspirant makes, and if you don't have proper guidance to tell you that okay, this is what you should not do, a lot of people will end up making these mistakes, and that will sabotage your preparation directly. Okay, chalo. So people, the first thing is, if you follow too many sources. Okay, I hope the brightness and everything of the video is fine. It feels a little dull, to be honest, but if it is, just let me know in the chat box. Okay, so yeah, following too many sources, if you do this, my dear friends, you are going to ruin your preparation for sure. Okay, now the thing is, what happens when I say, what do I mean by too many sources? First of all, too many sources could be too many books. You're following a certain book for theory, you're following the NCERT, you're following your YouTube's classes for theory, you're following your school for theory, you're going to coaching for theory, you're following 50 different teachers online for theory, etc., etc. Too many sources, right? Similarly for practice, everyone's confused what to do. There are so many JEE so many JEE Mains previous year questions these days. Yeah, a lot of people just get stuck in that. Lots of coaching material available. All sorts of books have so many questions. Yeah, for example, if you open Cengage, there are so many questions over there. So the point that I'm trying to make is that if you spend your time following too many sources, you will end up wasting your time. Okay, you will end up wasting your time. So you could either follow too many books, or you could either be following too many teachers. That is also possible, that you're following too many teachers on YouTube. You're learning from me, you're learning from 20 other teachers, etc. That is a problem. Okay, that is definitely a problem. So first of all, you have to limit yourself, people. Limit yourself, because if you don't limit yourself, you will be stuck doing too many irrelevant things. Okay, in terms of books, follow just the classes for theory, and to revise that theory, NCERT is enough. Some people would want to study books like Resnick and Halliday for physics, L.G. Wade or Solomon Fryle for organic chemistry, yes, so on and so forth. Mathematics, maybe there are different options that you have. But the thing is that spending more time on those books, along with attending classes with a teacher, along with reading the NCERT, you're spending too much time on theory. Right? So my suggestion, what I used to follow, is one teacher for one particular chapter and one book for that particular chapter. Okay, so this is what my broad idea is, that one teacher and one book for one chapter. Fine. Got it? So if you're learning a certain chapter from me, then stick to it. Ideally speaking, for chemistry, physical chemistry, you would have one teacher. Inorganic chemistry, one teacher. Organic chemistry, one teacher. And then you'll be like, but sir, there are teachers in school, there are teachers in coaching, etc. Stick to one of them. You choose who you like the most. Could be anyone. You need to decide which teacher's style of teaching suits you the best. Okay? So that's what you have to take care of. One teacher and one book per chapter. I'm saying per chapter because doing it for the entire subject sometimes is difficult. Not every teacher is expert in all the subjects. Yeah. And not every teacher is expert in the entire subject either. Okay? Generally what happens in chemistry is you have different specialists for inorganic, different specialists for organic chemistry, physical chemistry. In physics also, there is a branch of kinematics, then there is a branch of modern physics, then there is a branch of electricity and magnetism. So these three branches generally have different experts. In mathematics as well, there are chapters of coordinate geometry that have certain experts. There are chapters of trigonometry, calculus, etc. that have certain experts. And then come the different chapters of probability, PNC. Those chapters have different type of expert, different teachers as experts. Yeah. So it's difficult to follow one teacher only for the entire subject. And I won't recommend you doing that either because expertise matters, right? So if you're sticking to one teacher for one chapter, that is good enough. So pehle to limit the number of teachers that you're listening to and then limit the number of books that you're referring to for theory. This is for theory. Now for practice, what's the source that you should follow? Obviously, JEE Main previous year questions are important for you. And when it comes to JEE Advanced, all previous year questions are important for JEE Advanced as well. Okay? So in terms of material, you have enough material to practice. If you combine NCERT questions with JEE Main previous year questions and JEE Advanced previous year questions, this is a lot of material that you can and you should practice. Apart from these, you can follow one book. You choose whatever book you like. There are multiple options of books in different subjects. If you want me to give you the recommendations, I'll do that later in this class. But for now, the idea is that you have to limit yourself and stick to lesser sources and more relevant sources rather than just going around haywire and listening to everyone's advice. That never works. Focus is important. Okay? Fine. Now, my dear friends, when it comes to mistake number 2, this is something that I've observed a lot in my students, and when I used to prepare for JEE back in my day, I've observed this in a lot of my peers as well. बहुत लोगों को देखा मैंने that they keep doing something. They are hardworking. No matter when you look at them, they have some book in their hand. They are trying to do something. They are trying to read something. They are trying to solve something. But at the end of the day, at the end of the week, I should say, when we used to have our tests, they would never get a good rank in our mock tests. And that happens a lot to my students as well. And if something like this happens to you, please let me in the chat box also. That you feel like, sir, I'm putting so much effort every single day. I feel like I'm doing all that's necessary and more, but still I'm not getting any good ranks in my tests. I don't feel like I'm improving. Does that happen to you? And if there are a bunch of droppers in the chat box right now, if droppers are seeing this session, then I'm sure you relate to what I've just said. You've prepared for 2 years, but still you couldn't crack the examination. Something or the other just goes wrong and you're not able to figure out what. Yeah. So my dear friends, what happens in this case is that we think hard work is very important. That's just how culture tells us to live. Hard work, hard work. Honestly speaking, I do not appreciate this hard work culture or hustle culture. Because if you use your brain, you should realize, okay, this is all I need to do. Why do everything else? So one mistake, there are a bunch of mistakes, sub-mistakes, I should say. So one particular mistake that students do in this aspect is they focus too much on theory. So a few problems could be there. I'll try to give you a diagnosis of your problem in this particular scenario. First problem could be that, you are doing too much theory. You read the NCERT on your own, and then while reading the NCERT, you feel bored and you're like, I don't understand the language of this book. It's too complicated. It's too weird. Then you go to school, and in school, the teacher tells you something, and school teachers are very interesting characters most of the time. So they'll talk about some weird idea in their class, and then you'll be like, okay, I didn't find this in the book. Maybe this guy is saying something relevant. But still you don't feel good about the theory. So then what happens? You go to your coaching, and in coaching your teacher, your sir or ma'am, they will teach you about that particular topic again. And then they'll give you so much depth in the topic, you're like, oh, I didn't know so much depth in the topic existed in the first place. Now I have to study more. Then you come back home, you open YouTube, you watch classes of the infinite number of teachers that are present on YouTube these days. All sorts of personalities. Yeah. Some people will say this is important, some people will say that is important. And then all that you get out of it is a feeling of confusion. Right? Isn't it? Do you feel confused? When you follow so many teachers, so many sources, you're bound to feel confused. That happens. And the problem is that you're just doing too much theory. So that's one problem. I'll tell you the solution to this as well in some time. What could be another mistake is that you don't feel confident about going to the next level of questions. Yeah. Maybe you're stuck doing NCERT questions, and in NCERT, let's say there are 50 questions in a chapter. You were able to do 30 of them, but the remaining 20, you're like, oh, now that I can't solve these questions, how do I move forward? How do I go forward and solve JEE Main previous year questions? And if JEE Main previous year questions, let's say your success rate with them is only 60%, then you're like, oh, 40% of JEE Main previous year questions are remaining. How can I go to JEE Advanced questions? So what you end up doing is you just keep doing the same thing again and again. Yeah. Today NCERT, tomorrow NCERT, day after tomorrow NCERT, you go to a friend, please tell me NCERT, you go to the teacher, please tell me NCERT. You get stuck in just one small area and you don't move forward because you don't feel good about it. Yeah. That happens when you get stuck in a chapter as well. Yes. A lot of people do this mistake, especially happens with the chapter of chemical bonding. For 11th class students, and for 12th class students it happens with the initial part of organic chemistry, GOC, isomerism, hydrocarbons chapter, alkanes, alkenes, alkynes, all of those, alkyl halides chapter. So these initial few chapters of chemistry, they never feel complete. And then you're just stuck doing those chapters again and again and again, and your friends or your teachers or you yourself will be telling that you need to go to the next chapter, but you're like, oh, but I'm not done with this chapter. Let me first finish this chapter properly, then I will move forward. And this feeling of getting stuck and then putting in your effort only in one small little tiny little area happens to you, right? Isn't it? I'm sure it happens to you. It used to happen to me as well. Even I used to feel like, okay, unless and until I do chemical bonding properly, I won't be able to do the rest of inorganic chemistry. Maybe you have the similar feeling in some other chapter, some other subject, right? These, my dear friends, are big mistakes, because as soon as you are doing either of these, you're putting your efforts in the wrong direction. Yeah. What do you have to do in the examination? And this is something that I tell my students again and again. What you have to do in the examination is you have to solve certain types of questions, yes? Isn't it? All you have to do in the examination is you have to solve certain type of questions. That's it, that is all. Let me give you an analogy. Everyone watches cricket. Even if you don't watch cricket, I don't watch cricket, at least you know what cricket is all about, right? So when you see your players practicing for their match, what do they do while practicing? They do a lot of things, right? They would practice sprints, they would practice running, they would practice some weight training as well, they would practice some push-ups, etc., etc. So they do all these exercises. Sometimes they play football as well. But the main amount of practice that they do, the major chunk of practice that they do happens in the net practice, isn't it? Yeah. They practice playing the game most of the time. They do other things as well. These other things are also very important. But main time of practice goes into playing the game itself, rehearsing the game itself. Yes. So that is what you have to think about your examination. You will get better at getting better marks in the examination if you practice those kind of questions that are going to turn up in your examination. It is as simple as that. No rocket science over here. Understood? Yeah. If you have to participate in a motorcycle racing competition, you have to get onto the motorcycle and ride it on the racetrack. You can't just sit at home thinking, okay, I will do this, I will take this corner at this speed, etc. Getting the point. So, when talking about studying from the perspective of an examination, you have to deliberately focus on solving as many questions as possible. Okay? And this brings me to the next mistake that I have to talk about, which is this. This is exactly what I discussed with you right now. Waiting for perfection. You just keep sitting in one place, thinking about, okay, let me just become perfect in this and then I'll move on to the next step. And this is where, okay, you are stopping yourself from growing. My dear friends, I'll give you a statement right now. Try to follow it, okay? It will be very difficult for a lot of you to digest this statement, but please do so. I had to do this in my life and it helps, okay? I'll write a please in the beginning, just to be polite. Please do not pursue perfection. There is a time and place for it, okay? But for most things in this life, please do not try to pursue perfection, because the world, life in general is not perfect. Perfection is a man-made idea. You know about the ideal gas, right? Ideal gas pata hai na aapko? What is ideal gas? It is an imaginary idea. Ideal gas equations don't work in real life. So therefore, we have to do so many corrections to that ideal gas law. You have to do van der Waals correction, you have to do compressibility factor correction, you have to do so many weird things to make it work. So the point is that please do not pursue perfection. Take this statement with a pinch of salt, please. Yeah? Pursue doing well in something. Pursue perfection in your mind, okay, fine, but don't let that stop you from going ahead. Don't let this idea stop you from going ahead in life, okay? Perfection, to think about it is good. To envision it, to dream about it, it is nice. It gives you the drive, it gives you the motivation to do something, right? But don't let the idea of perfection stop you in your tracks. So when it is time for you to move on from the theory to practice, move on. It's not necessary that you need to know 100% theory. Okay? While practicing questions, you will realize, okay, this is a question I can't solve, this is a question I can't solve. For those two questions, you will search for the theory either in your book or on google.com or on YouTube or in your notes somewhere. And even while solving questions, see, the point of practicing questions is not that you'll be able to solve all of them. That's never going to happen. The point of practicing questions is that half of the questions, let's say, you're able to solve easily. Half of the questions should be challenging enough that you're like, oh, what's going on now? You should feel the stress of solving questions. Only then your brain will grow. It's like lifting weights in the gym. Only when you lift heavy weights, your body grows. If you go and lift light weights in the gym, nothing is going to happen. Okay? So please don't pursue perfection in every small thing. Don't let this idea stop you in your tracks. आगे बढ़ो थोड़ा. Okay? Don't get stuck in one place. So once you've read NCERT, once you've watched a class of a certain chapter, okay, fine. Even if you don't understand all the concepts properly, it's fine. Just move on to the question. Let's say you're doing exercise 1 from some book or some coaching material. Once you're done with all the questions of exercise 1, even if you could not solve 10% of those questions, okay, fine. Move on. Okay? While doing the exercise 2 or exercise 3, you will have, let's say, only 50-60% success rate. Now you'll be like, okay, sir, what do we do about the remaining? Do we just leave it? Come back to it after some time. Okay? Come back to it, but after some time. Exercise 1 questions, you can come back maybe after 2-3 days. Advanced level questions which you were not able to solve, come back to it after 2-3 weeks. While you will be revising, come back to those questions. Okay? So all I want to say is, please don't keep waiting for perfection, move on. Perfection will come eventually, it comes in stages. Maturity doesn't come immediately, it'll come in stages. For those of you who are in 11th class right now, when you go to 12th class, the 11th class syllabus will feel easy. The droppers who are out there, they have this advantage, okay, that since you've already studied 2 years, now this year when you look back at those chapters, they will feel easier. Okay? So now that they feel easier to you, don't keep spending time doing the same thing again and again. Move on. Solve the questions. Practice things that are relevant for your examination. Okay? So please don't keep waiting for perfection unnecessarily. And then when you feel like there's too much on your plate, when you feel like it's too difficult for you, you're like, ho gaya, ab to nahi ho raha mere se. You just give up. And a lot of students give up too early in their pursuit of IIT or NIT or AIMS, whatever exam you're targeting, okay, whatever college you're targeting. A lot of people give up too early. They baith jayenge bas. Because obviously the preparation is difficult. And the moment you give up, lakhs of people who are your competitors will move ahead of you, isn't it? Yeah? Isn't it? Lots of people just give up because they're like, nahi ho pa raha mere se. And the people who give up are out of the race, obviously. And unfortunately, this competitive examination, it is a race. We can't do anything about it. It is a race. So those who give up, they're out of the race. So please try not to give up. If I have to give you an idea, this is something that Anand sir used to tell us when we were preparing for our exams, is that everyone starts with the dream that they will do very well in the examination. A lot of people don't say it, but almost everyone has the dream of, okay, top karenge. Right? Everyone at least thinks about it. I want to top. At least top 100 you think about it, right? 6 months down the line, 50% of people have already given up. Every 6 months, 50% people keep giving up, okay? So first 6 months, 50% people have already given up because they realize it's too difficult for them. Okay, fine, bye-bye. Then by the end of 11th class, Half of the remaining people also give up. Okay, great. Then the next 6 months, half of the remaining again give up. Then the last 6 months, half of the remaining again give up. You're left with a very small pool of people. Please make sure you're in the small pool of people who are in the race instead of being in the huge pool of people that have just given up on pursuing this dream. Aviral is saying everyone thinks IIT Bombay, IIT Delhi ki CS se niche to jana hi nahi hai. That's true. Happens. Everyone wants to dream big. And that is fine. Humans have the sense of imagination, so imagine big things for yourself. Pursue them as well, please. Don't give up. ठीक है? तो give up कर दोगे तो रह जाएगा भैया. As simple as that. If you give up, then obviously nothing is gonna work out, right? Coming to a practical mistake that a lot of people will commit is this one, that they will not practice enough mock tests. I'll tell you what we used to do. In our coaching, we used to have tests every Sunday for 2 years, okay? In my 11th class and in my 12th class, for 2 years, I did not have even one Sunday of holiday. Every Sunday we had tests, okay? So, in a month, starting from the very beginning, we used to have 2 weeks of small test or minor test, as we used to call it, and 2 Sundays of major test. Okay, so 2 Sundays minor test. Minor test was basically your JEE main pattern. Okay, 3 hours of test, and they would give us simpler questions to solve. Whatever syllabus was done, all of that syllabus used to come in the test. Okay, whatever syllabus is done till that point, all of that syllabus will come in your test. And every other Sunday, which is basically 2 Sundays in a month, JEE advanced pattern test. 3 hours, 2 hours break, 3 hours. Mock test, 2 hours break, mock test, basically. Okay, so it used to be paper 1, paper 2, physics, chemistry, math, exactly like JEE advanced. And we used to take these tests from the beginning of class 11th. So as soon as our syllabus started, the very first tests, the questions were only from like 2-3 topics, but there were lots of questions from those 2-3 topics only. The point is that you sitting inside the test environment, giving yourself that pressure of being in a test, learning how to deal with that pressure is important, no matter how good or how bad your knowledge is. There are lots of people who are really good at science, they're really good at solving questions, but they don't know how to use their brain in the test environment. They have something like stage fear. Yeah, have you ever felt something like stage fear? You go onto the stage and you're like, oh, I can't speak. Happens to a lot of people and happens to a lot of aspirants as well. So practice taking mock tests. I have done that every Sunday when I was preparing. If you have the enthusiasm to do it, for the lack of better words, please make sure you are taking tests as frequently as possible. And when you get closer to the examination, let's say 1 month from the examination, then every other day should be the test. By every other day, I mean every alternate day. All right. So let's say your JEE is on the 10th of April. So beginning 1st March, you should be taking mock tests every alternate day. Alrighty, fine. Taking tests is important. A lot of students do this, okay? Now that I'm talking about it, it comes to my mind. A lot of students do this. I remember when I used to teach in my paid courses of Vedantu. Every Sunday, even at Vedantu, we have a test, okay? For paid students, every Sunday Vedantu, we have a test, online test. In my class, back at that time, I had like 30 students. Only 5 of them used to take the test. The remaining would always give an excuse or the other. Sir, the chapter that is coming in the test, no, I haven't prepared that chapter only, sir. Sir, I missed those classes, so I will cover my backlog and then I will prepare for the test later. Dude, do you really think that by the time JEE Advanced or JEE Mains comes and you will be perfect in your preparation? That's never going to happen. Again, stop chasing perfection. So even if you have zero idea about this particular chapter that's going to come in your test, at least sit for the test and experience what it feels like. You should experience that. Okay, I don't know how to solve any question in this test, but at least you know now how to deal with this situation. And once you feel that, you will never come unprepared for another test, right? So no matter what your situation is, I repeat, no matter what your level of preparation is, please take mock tests every single Sunday. If you actually want to prepare like people who are there in these coaching institutes in Kota, करना पड़ेगा ये फिर. Okay. वरुण सिंह, because we get to know our औकात. हाँ भैया, बिल्कुल सही कह रहे हो. टेस्ट दोगे तो औकात पता लग जाएगी कितने पानी में, ये समझ आ जाएगा. ठीक है. एंड नाउ पीपल, आई हैव वन मोर बोनस mistake that I want to talk about, and then I will start chatting with you. Okay. This is the bonus mistake number 6. Listening to irrelevant people. This is going to get me into trouble, but okay, fine. See, my dear friends, random example लेते हैं, okay? Random example लेते हैं. Say I want to participate in motorcycle racing. Now, who will I ask how to ride the motorcycle on the track? Who would I choose as my teacher? Who would I choose as my source of information? I would talk to a racer, isn't it? Someone who races motorcycles, who's successful at motorcycle racing, someone who has won some races, someone who has won some championship, some national level motorcycle racer, let's say. I will try to talk to that person. I will try to learn from that person. If that person has taken classes, if that person has given out any piece of information, that I would go to that person, right? If I want to prepare for motorcycle racing, would I go to the person who sells motorcycle accessories? Obviously not. There are thousands of shops in the city of Bangalore selling motorcycle accessories, and that's their job, right? They will sell helmets, they will sell riding gear. But can I go to them for motorcycle racing advice? Obviously not. Do you get what I'm trying to say? If you want to crack IIT, who would you ask how to crack IIT? Obviously someone who has already gone through the process. Preferably someone who is an IITian. Or someone who has successfully trained a lot of people to get into IIT. Right? Don't keep listening to random people, okay? There are so many motivational speakers these days on YouTube, and the only thing that they've achieved in life is they've just motivated people, as in, I don't understand this. If you want directions, inspiration, motivation, then how can someone who has basically achieved nothing credible in life, that person is just coming on stage and shouting at people? How is that a credible source of anything? Yeah. मतलब मुझे अगर मोटिवेशन लेनी है मोटरसाइकिल रेसिंग के लिए तो मैं MotoGP देखूंगा ना. If I have to derive motivation for motorcycle racing, I will watch MotoGP. I won't watch videos of some random motivator telling me to get up at 5 in the morning on YouTube. So please, make sure that you listen to relevant people. Okay? Always, whenever you are listening to someone, whenever you're taking someone's advice, whenever you're learning something from someone, please question the credibility. This is a huge problem with the world these days. People don't question credibility at all. You see a message that's been forwarded on WhatsApp, you see a reel that someone has shared with you on Instagram, you believe it instantly. Oh, very nice. Aviral, I'm not targeting anyone, and to be very honest with you, I have no idea who that person is. I have been out of touch with the education industry for the last 1.5 years. So I really don't know who's who right now. And I don't follow that because I don't need to prepare for JEE anymore. So I'm not targeting anyone over here. But point is that in life, in general, and especially right now for your JEE preparation, please question the credibility of information that comes to you. Please. This is very important. I'll give you an example. There's a very nice YouTube channel called LLA something. Okay, it started by an IIT and he was my senior, Rishabh. If you've seen that, if you remember the exact name of the channel, you can let me know in the chat box. LLA Advisor or something, that's the name of their channel. And what they did this year on 1st of April is that they made a very nice article on their website saying that YouTube will now give you money if you watch videos on YouTube. Okay, YouTube is coming up with a viewer monetization plan, and that was an April Fool's joke that they played, but they made such a beautiful website for it that every proper news channel in India said that it's real. It's real. Okay. At the end of the actual website that LLA had made, they had written down that this is an April Fool's joke. Please don't take it seriously. But then all the popular news channels, okay, all the popular news channels published it as if it was real news, and they had mentioned that their source as LLA, the YouTube channel. These news channels didn't even read the website properly. So it is very important to question the credibility of information that comes to you. Who's telling you that information? What is the source of that information? Okay? Very important. Because these days you see so many things popular on Instagram, people spewing facts about things when they are hardly real. So please. Credibility is very important, no matter who you go to. Credibility comes from qualification. Simple as that. Humans have already figured this out. There's a certain thing called qualification. There's a certain thing called results. Obviously, you can see. Fine. When I wanted to prepare for IIT, when I wanted to get into IIT Bombay, my only criteria of the coaching institute was I want to learn from IITians. If it's possible for me to study from people who have already been to IITs, then perfect, right? Hope you enjoyed this session. If you did, make sure to hit that thumbs up button. Stay subscribed to the channel and leave a comment after the video. After the live session is done, leave a comment if you have any more doubts that I was not able to answer in the chat. Alright people, that's it from my side. Good night.